What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, we're going to talk about how the Fed meeting is tomorrow. What is the most likely outcome, and how is the stock market going to react? Did David over at Muln take the 1 for 100 reverse split off the table last night when he was talking to Financial Journey? And what does that really mean? Is Ttoo last trade 10.06 on the launch pad awaiting an FDA approval? And did I actually settle the legal spat last night or this morning with Mcom? All that and more coming right up. Happy Tuesday to you. It's an absolutely gorgeous, sunny, and 95 degrees here in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to remind everybody that I just sent out over the course of the last week 8,000 plus emails to all of our members at trysmallbiz.com. Premium ones are invited to join our private Facebook group. It's facebook.com/group/trysmallbiz. Close to 50 have joined so far. I expect at least another 50 or so over the course of the next few weeks. Soon to follow, in the first week or two of August, will be the private Discord for you stock traders. And no, you don't have to have a small business at trysmallbiz.com, but you do need to be a premium member. All right, what the hell's going on with the Fed? Simply put, expect a 25 basis hike tomorrow. They don't want to see another episode of the 1980s when Paul Volcker stopped too early and then eventually had to jack up rates, believe it or not, to 20% before he finally killed inflation. So expect a raise tomorrow, maybe another one in the next meeting or two. But they're pretty much indicating, and the tips is telling us, 2 more hikes, and then they're most likely done. The market is telling us today, with the Dow up 360 now, S&P tacking on almost 0.5%, it's not done going up. This is an absolute behemoth we are in the midst, as I've said many times on Twitter. Follow me at TrySmallBiz. A secular bull market that, in my opinion, and a few others, is going to go on until 2035. In other words, the market's going to double, and in the case of the NASDAQ, triple over the next 12 or 15 years, in my opinion. The millennials, as of about 9 months ago, are now bigger than the baby boomers. We don't add it around here, so if you're new, welcome. Baby boomers, those that are retiring. And you add in artificial intelligence, the massive productivity gains associated with that, the fact that human capital, yes, in many cases will be replaced, but that also means that S&P 500 earnings are going to go through the roof. Why? Companies are going to be a lot leaner and a lot meaner. So I highly encourage everybody, follow me on Twitter, and you know what you need to do over on that website, trysmallbiz.com. Ttoo, before I get to Muln and Mcom. Last trade on Ttoo, 1060. The 50-day moving average is 1077. So there's resistance there. It's going to have an awful time getting up and through there in this type of a market for small caps, because anything under $1, in case you're hiding under a rock, is not performing well as of late. We go through boom and bust. We went through a boom since April. We racked up 14 out of 15 trades for winners, 452% gains, and that's a motherfucking fact. But now we're in a bit of a nuclear winter. It's normal. I personally think it's going to go on for the most part until Labor Day or slightly after. But then the action's going to heat up, and 2 or 3 of these 4 or 5 stocks that we own are going to do well. But as I also said this morning, they're all up for a reverse split, which brings me to Mullen. By the way, Ttoo, if they get the FDA final approval, we get up through an 11. 15 or 20 is a possibility. But yesterday in a video, and we're awaiting clarification as to what David actually meant, CEO of Mullen, he said 1 for 100's off the table. And if you've been watching my channel as well as Financial Journey and others, we've been hammering away on a number of subjects. It was a death nail to say 1 for 100, take that off the table. Well, he did. They needed to be buying back stock. I was harassing him for weeks, if not months, to sell the jet and buy back $25 or $30 million worth of stock. Well, he said he was going to do that. I'm not certain to this date, July the 25th or thereabouts, if my 3rd grade math serves me, that he's bought back a single fucking share. And even though some of you got excited this morning when it juiced up through 14, what did I say once again to the haters that are going to give me a thumbs down in today's video? I said it's going to be an awful challenge to get through 14, 17, and then you got 21 and a half, a quarter, and 30. What was resistance becomes support. What was support, and now in this case, on the way up through, is going to be resistance. So even though he did say, apparently, 1 for 100's off the table, I'm sticking to my prediction. It's going to be 1 for 50. And let's call it 13 cents last trade, 131. You're talking about a $6, $7 stock-ish if it can hold these levels. And if it goes lower, let's call it $5 a share at a dime. That's more realistic. Ideally, what I'd like to see is 25 or 30 to 1, but I'm telling you right now, it's great news that he took 100 to 1 off the table. Give us clarification. Are you going 50 to 1? Are you giving us a range of 25 to no more than 50 to 1? I dare you to put your nuts on the line, David, and give us a range with respect to the reverse split, because until and when we get that, and you got the August 3rd vote that they already have the votes for because of the series, I believe it's F or D convertible preferred, stock's not going to go much of anywhere. And in fact, you know what I think is going to happen before I close out with our discussion this morning with MCOM? This could be Big Part 2. I sold BBIG, as many of you know, at 30 cents before the reverse. It did a 1 for 20. It went down about 50 or 60% to $1.25. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, about 2/3 of the board resigns. The National Enquirer deal falls through, and the stock quadrupled. It got as high as 587 yesterday. I believe I saw it last trade around 4.5. It still could be going higher, and it's been on absolutely no news, and they're out of compliance. So what is it? Is Lemotive finally going to relaunch its desktop and give us Lemotive 2.0? I don't know. Some people have said that Elon Musk and X might be interested in what BBig has to offer. If I had to guess, and this is purely a guess, the new guys that came in cleaned house. They're associated with the, let's call it news subscription, publication, digital media business, not related necessarily to social media. They and their cronies have been buying up the stock. That's my opinion. I could be fucking wrong. It could be a bit of short covering as well. But I think Mullen is most likely going to do the same thing. In other words, we're going to get a 25 to 50 to 1 reverse in the next, let's call it a month. The stock may go from 5 down to 2 or 3 in change and then start pumping like BBig did. If they're cranking out the production, if they're bringing in tens of millions of revenue before the end of this year, and David, if you're listening, because I know that you are, you come out and say, look, we are going to do an offering of 10 million or 20 million shares. Maybe it's through Acuitas or somebody else, but that's it for 2024. We have, between what we've got now, what's coming in the door, and this last offering, which is most likely going to be end of the year, probably beginning of the next, to get us through the next 2 or 3 years. And then after a retracement of 30 to 50%, most likely you could pump 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5x. But what the fuck do I know? I'm just a podcaster, up nearly 700% in the last 16 months. Very important, and I want to thank you if you're one of the 40%, according to our analytics, that sticked around for the end of the video. Most people are long gone by now. I said yesterday that I got a cease and desist letter, the first in many, many, many years, with respect to MCOM. And Sal's lawyer, who will go nameless, but boy, is there a heck of a story to go with it, was very nice to me on the phone. And I thought he was inexperienced with respect to Mcom, because one of my questions was, are you aware of the fact that this stock is down approximately last trade 084, 98.7% year to date? And then since it went public as Hellbez a couple years ago, it's down 99.9%. And you have a CEO who has chastised, berated, including me. He's called me fake news, small d, 4-letter word that ends in K, and small brain. A number of exhibits that we have of memes, and it's even worse for many of you. I have, or we have, I should say, at trysmallbiz.com over 300 law firms. We have 8,277. Thank you very much for joining. Members in total, 260-something. Thank you, Derek, who just became a premium member last night. But about 3% of our total overall membership are law firms. And some of these people own the stock. And when they heard and saw the video and the tweets that I shared with respect to the cease and desist? Well, let's just say they were livid. They were so pissed. These are people that not only know the securities business, but they followed my lead into the stock. They're down 70, 80, or in some cases, one in particular, over 90%. And when they saw, in their words, that motherfucker tried to scare, bully, and intimidate you, we need to file, and I'm going to keep it simple, so stupid. Shit, I lost the term, but a class action lawsuit. It's a preemptive. In other words, it's non-binding when you get a letter. When it's a cease and desist order from the court, a lawsuit, that's serious business. A lot of people ignore the cease and desist letter. I don't. I was trained as a broker. You immediately got on the phone with a client. What's the problem? What do I have to do to fix it? And if I do, are we done? And that's exactly what happened this morning. I said over the phone, so if I get rid of the poll that he had in question and the guy from Italy, and by the way, if you go to @HellBizKitchenIT, there's a guy who claims to be an employee of Hellbiz Kitchen Italy that they didn't get paid 2 months ago. But Sal and his lawyers had a problem that I reshared that and questioned him on it. So I did take it down. But if you want to go and read half a dozen or more tweets on why this guy, who again supposedly is an employee and didn't get paid, knock yourself out. But these lawyers who would represent us in a class action lawsuit said there's no fucking way in closing that he would ever win, whether it's a judge, jury, or an arbitration. You've got a stock down 99.9% since it became public. You've got lawyers who are very, very averse, right? They said, we'll set up a website. You'll send in your documents. You'll do a GoFundMe or just give us $50 for those that are really interested in getting all their fucking money back. But as they've told me, it's going to be a 12 to 18-month process. And what really caught me is interesting. One of the lawyers said to me, I know the guy who sent you the cease and desist. And as I said yesterday, he's a pretty good guy. For the life of me, his words, not mine, I can't understand why he's representing Sal. And it turns out that this guy who sent me the cease and desist letter represented Sal years ago in the Hellbiz coin fiasco. That was on again, off again, on again. It was $30 to $40 million where they accused Sal basically of misappropriating funds. The same lawyer, or at least one of them, is the one that tried to intimidate me. So I am going on the record right here, right fucking now. If that lawyer that represents Sal, and you know who you are, sends me another cease and desist, whether it's from something I said 6 months ago or something I may have said tomorrow or the day after, it's an immediate class action lawsuit. I will call on thousands of you to join our cause and website, and we will take this motherfucker, if necessary, down one way or another. It is not my preference. If you've been in the business as long as I have, you're going to get piggyback lawsuits. The stock will fade into the abyss. It'll become Chapter 11, and we'll never get our money back. I am long big time the stock right now, and I'm actually tempted to buy more, but I don't have any, and my principles, my ethics won't allow me to do it. So until next time, always remember that I love you guys and gals, and thanks so much for watching.